Once again, it's on. Your main man, Joe Dupree, in the building from 100 BLK, the Black Station. And I wouldn't be on the scene if I didn't have my brother from another mother on the scene down there in South Kakalaki representing WBLS in New York. Fatim Muhammad, what's up, brother Fatim?
What's up, brother? What's going on? Happy belated Thanksgiving. Happy holiday season to you, brother. You've been very busy out there on the HBCU collegiate football uh, field, brother, bouncing around from different programs and I don't want to say playoffs yet, but tournaments and things like the Bayou Classic and all that kind of stuff. Great work. You're meeting some great people. You saw my friend out there, the journalist. I see his face. You took a
Mark.
picture.
Talking about
Uh,
Mark
no,
from NBC.
uh-uh. He's
Ooh,
from Roland Martin. Roland will
Roland.
kill me. Yeah,
Yeah,
Roland. That's my
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I was with Roland in 2 Thursdays ago in Georgia.
Okay,
We're at the court where the trial was going on. Of course, we
right.
already got the verdict, which I guess we'll talk a little bit about that in the show, dealing with the Ahmaud Arbery trial. But how was your
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, my brother?
It was wonderful, man. It was a lot of food, a lot of family, a lot of fellowship. You know, blessed, man. Thankful. Go ahead and say that off top. It was very blessed, and I was very thankful. You know, of course, as you know, I spend every Thanksgiving holiday in New Orleans. Have since 1995. I have covered every Bayou Classic in
Hmm.
some capacity since 1995. Since my first year at Grambling State University, I have been to every Bayou Classic, either working the sidelines because I worked for a former Grambling State great coach. May he rest in peace, and may his name always be a legend when it comes to HBCU football. The great late Eddie Robinson, worked years with him, worked for the first African American quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl when he coached at Grambling State University. Doug Williams, who I
Oh yeah.
always fondly refer to as my old boss,
Mm.
uh, and spent many years now. Now this is my 10th year working with Southern University, which is real funny because Southern and Grambling are big time rivals. However, my love is for all HBCUs all over the place, everywhere, and for what they represent and what they stand for. So it was a great weekend for me. Your weekend, brother? I saw some pictures. What's happening?
Oh yeah, man. It was a good weekend. Besides and I don't even want to say because you'll get on me, but the Cowboys losing. But it was a good game. The Las Vegas Raiders. That was a good game. At the end of the day. But yeah, just with family, with a tough year, dealing with ups and downs and this, that, and the other. Just great to be with family and be on vacation. I work numerous jobs, so I'm not on vacation from everything. But when you don't have to get up on a daily basis and go,
Correct.
deal with the hustle and bustle, it gives you a little bit of breather and things like that. So it was a great time, great with family. Unfortunately, the little kids been running around here with colds. Not COVID, they got checked yesterday, but and then you get this little sniffle here and there. But other than that, everything is good.
Well, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And let me go ahead and kind of give people the rundown for tonight. Um,
And I'm gonna
we're
give
going
a
to have
shout.
some. We're going to have some conversation. Definitely, we're going to talk about the new variant, the Omicron.
Omicron.
A little friend of mine called me and said, "So Transformers are becoming COVID variants." And I
Hmm.
forgot that if you're into cartoons and Transformers, that is the name of one of the Transformers.
Somebody
Uh,
said Transformer or this or Decepticons. Is
right,
it Transformer or
Decepticon, right?
Decepticon? you know.
um, and of course, we're going to talk about the holidays so far. A lot of people are out there in a feeding frenzy when it comes down to buying stuff because, of course, we had Black Friday, Cyber Monday. This is Travel Tuesday, so a lot of folks are trying to get their, get travel deals right now as we speak. And what did we learn from what I call the win and the loss? The Whittenhouse and the Aubrey, the verdicts that came back from that. Last but not least, we're going to close out because I was listening yesterday to a show that you helped produce, which is the Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton, and he was talking about, man, we really got to keep our eyes on this voting rights thing.
Mhm.
We really do. And so we're going to talk about that and so much more. If you want to join into the conversation, please put a comment in, share this with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. Listen, starting tomorrow, the all new, let me go ahead and put that up so folks will know. Tomorrow, you can go to, let me find where I got that at. Okay, you can go to, let me show this. Haha. December the 1st, which is tomorrow, you can go to www.the100blk.com and you can catch former episodes of Community Conversation and so much more. We're coming out with a website where we're going to feature everything that is us, the culture, the things that are going on. We're going to have a lot of great information, great content. So tell a friend to tell a friend. www.the100blk.com is definitely the place to go to get all that. Right now, it's Community Conversations with Fatim and Joe.
There you
You
go,
know,
though. To give a shout out to Rhonda Hairston, and hopefully you had a good holiday. Rhonda, it spreads the love on.
yeah, she does.
Yes,
She
she
does.
definitely spreads the love. So
She
good
does.
evening to you, my good sister. She supports pretty much the things that we do out here. So again, thank you, and thank you for your comments at the end of the day.
So man, you've been doing any shopping?
I mean, I did a little bit, nothing major. As
Okay.
I'm planning on doing something. I got to making a little deal tomorrow down here, and it was amazing that my cousin was down here for the summer. It's amazing. She came down here, did well up in New York, came down here and caught COVID.
Oh Lord.
But it was in the house. It got in the house down here. This is before I came down. But we went to see where I didn't know she broke ground on a
Mm.
house. She
Okay.
broke ground on a house. And so, some moves I'm making down here and things like that. So so I bought a couple of things. I just a little transition in place, and I bought a couple of things for the new place. So, but I
Okay.
didn't go overboard because I don't know, I got to get some other things, big item pieces, and that's going to be a little extra money or whatever. And I got to see how to do that around holiday time and how to juggle this. So I just got to be very careful. So, got an Instapot and a toaster.
Okay.
I need to get a television and stuff like that. But that's another story. But yeah, a little bit, nothing major. I get some of the other stuff as time goes.
So my question is,
Yes, sir.
especially to all the viewers out there, where the deals at right now? Because and what is the hot ticket items? That is
Mm.
the question. And listen, in all your buying and in all your giving, let us not forget the reason for the season. And the reason for the season, regardless of what your spiritual affiliation is really love of mankind and understanding that it is this time of season when we really should concentrate on those who are less fortunate and say, what can we do to uplift mankind? And what can we do really, really, really to make this place a better place for not only us, but for the next generation and those who come after us? And I'm laughing because I'm looking at my phone and I see where I did miss 4 calls from my good friend
Mm-hmm.
Fatim, because I was
Mm-hmm.
definitely glued on something else and did not start the show on time. So that was
Mm-hmm. You get a bell for
mhm,
that. Mm-hmm.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
If I had an organ, I'll play a tune for you.
Wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Here
Yeah,
it go.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I was looking for something somebody put out on Facebook that I shared. Maybe I can find it that I shared, and it touched upon what we deal with doing the Thanksgiving holiday. And it's amazing. I hate when I go on Facebook and then you slide your finger left or right and it goes
Right.
from the page. But I would like to share this real quick. I feel the need to tweet this every year. It needs to stick. Black people celebrate Thanksgiving for very specific, familiar, or family and ancestral reasons. Our traditions, foods, gatherings are to do with centuries of love. We do not celebrate nor care about no pilgrims, respectfully.
Mm.
And the reason why that to me resonated and I shared that, the reason why I shared that, because it's true. It's true. A lot of traditions that are American, Black folks have been able to take those traditions and make them into their own traditions. You understand? So the traditions of Thanksgiving from the Pilgrims and the Indians and all that, Black folks have come together and tend to come together and bring family together that has not seen family in a long time or whatever. And especially during this pandemic that we're in, and when things were shut down and when people could gather. So even when it gets down to the Christmas, a lot of people, that believe in Jesus, and a lot of people start to dispute that Jesus was born on the December 25th, and that's another conversation. But we do these things for the joy for our family, and we do these for those traditions. And I don't know if we spend our last and we spend our bill money, then we're not acting properly, we're not being smart. But it's nothing wrong with putting a smile on a child's face. It's nothing wrong to put a smile on the moms and the pops and the family or a friend's face during a time that there's more joy in the air. I just want to say this real quick. The best time where I see Black and white and all kind of folks getting together and getting along is during the Christmas holiday, during this season, and also on the floor where people give birth. That's where I see people showing love, no matter the nationality, the creed, whatever, their religion. I see that. And if we could do more of that, but unfortunately we can't do more of that, because it's not just easy to let go of certain things, because we continue to live in a society that tends to be a biased society against folks out here. So until we can correct that, then we can become better people.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I want to give a quick shout out before we get any deeper into the show, for those who follow HBCU sports. First, to the South Carolina State, for making it to the Black National Championship. They'll be representing the MEAC this Saturday in Jackson, Mississippi, at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Eric Dooley, who is the coach of the Prairie View A&M Panthers, will be taking on Coach, and let me say Coach Eric Dooley, and he will be taking on Coach Deion Sanders, better known as Coach Prime, for the SWAC championship. Big ups to Coach Prime, who is Coach of the Year in the SWAC. He said, "Call me Cody." Uh, and big ups to his son, Sadur, who is the freshman phenom and freshman of the year in the SWAC. So, Jackson State was definitely hitting on all cylinders. So big ups to them as they get ready for the SWAC championship this Saturday. Don't count PV out. I think it's going to be a very close game. And even though a lot of folks in Jackson said they want to storm the field and make it look like Michigan when Michigan beat Ohio State, we shall see. That's all I have to say about that.
There you go. There you go. And just to answer Rhonda's question, I put it in the chat. No, Sister Rhonda, I'm not leaving New York. I got too much ties to New York. That's where I was born and raised. But there's some things I'm setting up. So a little dual residency don't hurt right now as you look for that other chapter in your life. When it comes time to retire, you got to put certain things in place. And if I continue to play checkers and don't play chess, then I get caught out there, and then I got to work and work and work, and nobody wants to just continue to work, or you work under your own terms versus working for someone else. As you put yourself in the future.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
There you go. So that's it.
Since we're talking about transition, let's talk about this new variant. And it being, first of all, the big travel ban right now, because if you were in South Africa, and I had a very good friend, to be exact, my bishop, the person I worship with, Bishop Larry Lloyd, frequently goes to South Africa, had just left last week. South Africa, did not contract the virus. He is doing quite well. He does many crusades, very much mission work in South Africa and some of those Southern African nations. But thank God that they have things in place that they found this variant and warned the whole world about the variant. And some people say, well, feels like it's punishment to that area with the travel ban and everything. But let's just be real about it. If we had more testing and more early warning systems, a lot of these viruses probably would be named the American virus, or they would be named from whatever place in America the virus was found from. So once again, now we got to deal with Omicron. They skipped over a whole bunch of Greek alphabet, and I'm still trying to figure out how did this one get named Omicron, because after Delta is definitely not Omicron. But it's here. And regardless of how you feel, it has been proven for those of us who have been vaccinated. I did catch coronavirus, and I was vaccinated in coronavirus. I am this week or next week getting ready to get my booster shot because I haven't received it yet. But regardless of where you stand in the spectrum of things, make sure that you do what you need to do, research what you need to research, and make sure that you're safe and don't contract the coronavirus in any shape, form, or fashion, because it is still killing folks. Folks are dying as we speak. Today, folks died of the coronavirus, Brother Fatim.
So a couple of things here. So just to be transparent, I'm triple vaccinated and with Moderna, and I had the first shot in February 5th, got the second shot March 6th. So the end of September, I was into 6 months. And before I came south, I got a third shot. But Moderna at that particular time was not approved to do the booster. And when they were approved to do the booster, they were given half the dosage of the first 2 shots, half the doses of either one of those shots. And I spoke with a couple of doctors because I have hypertension and diabetes number 2, meaning I'm not on insulin, I take pill. We talked and I decided to get the third Moderna shot. And I did. And that just was my decision and my transparency there. Now let's deal with Omicron. What's troubling me on this one is something I brought up with some doctors on our WBLS show, Open Line Online show. And I talked about, with the vaccines out here, with folks catching COVID and surviving the COVID, Delta or the regular one, the first initial one. The question is of neutralizing the virus, but not being able to neutralize the spike protein, meaning that what happens if the spike protein mutates? And when I presented that to a few doctors, they paused because they know that was very dangerous. Well, coming out of South Africa, you talk about 20 mutations, and the chickens have come home to roost. And somebody said that when rich countries like America and UK and other countries do not share the technology or share the vaccine, then you're going to get these super bugs. And when you get these super bugs, you're going to create a super germ that is going to be resistant to what you have out there, unless you could come up with something that can kill and destroy this whole virus out here at the end of the day. And so many people have caught coronavirus, COVID, that it has mutated. Now we're in a bad place. Now they said it's not recorded in the United States as of yet. Okay, it hasn't been recorded. I believe it's here. Dr. Fauci believes it's here, and a lot of other people believe it's here already. The question is, will it pass Delta? Will it pass Delta? Will it be able to do that? We don't know all the history. The chief health officer of Moderna was on GMA, Good Morning America, yesterday, and he said it's just going to take a few weeks because it's just not overnight to see how the vaccines hold up against this. We don't know if these cases are going to be milder, but there seems to be a panic across the globe. And why I'm saying that, because people know with this spike protein mutating, that is not a good way, and you can't spin this. You can't spin this into something positive right now. We are holding our breath because I've said this last year, and I'll say it again, Joe. Is this the beginning of the end of mankind, of dying
Mm,
off this planet.
wow. Family, we really need to, and Brother Fatim made a very great point. Once again, we really need to say when is enough is enough. When is it that you shouldn't make any more money? When can you say, man, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable where I'm at. Let me help the less fortunate. I still laugh at what people say about Jeff Bezos. That Jeff Bezos, with the wealth he has accumulated, can give everybody on this planet right now $1 million, and still he'll be super wealthy after he distributes all that money to everybody on the planet. Um, you know, so now because we have been hoarders of vaccines and information, and we have not shared in a loving, kind spirit to other folks what we have stockpiled. Now, like you said, a super bug has broke out. Now it's Omicron because they've had so many variations in Africa. They finally made it to the letter Omicron in the Greek alphabet. Go Google that one time. Um, Family, take care of yourself. Do the research you need to do. I'm not here to tell you to get vaccinated or not to get vaccinated. That's not my job. My job is to tell you get the information, find out what's best for you, and make sure you protect and take care of your family. Period. Because you know what? People who are drowning cannot save other folks. Last time I checked, when you're on an airplane and they give you what should happen in case cabin pressure drops, they don't tell you mask up everybody else. They tell you first make sure that you got your mask on and that you are properly breathing. So, family, Brother Fatim brought up something that we all need to take a pause and breathe on. Is this the beginning of the end? You know, and you might watch horror movies and you might watch sci-fi, but really you might need to really ask yourself, is this the beginning of the end? And prepare yourselves.
And let me just say this, Joe, real quick. Google this, what I'm getting ready to say. This was on CNN today. The United States scientists who created, see, this is what I'm saying. Man is thinking they're smarter than God or don't believe in God. The United States scientists who created the first living robots. This is not tin and iron. Don't think of that kind of robot. Say the life forms known as xenobots can now reproduce. You heard what I just said, can reproduce, and in a way not seen in plants and animals, form from the stem cells of the African clawed frog, from which it takes its name. Xenobots are less than a millimeter wide. The tiny blobs were first unveiled in 2020 after experiments showed that they could move, work together in groups, and self-heal. Now scientists that developed them at the University of Vermont, Tufts University, and Harvard University, Wyss Institution for Biologically Inspired Engineering, say they have discovered an entirely new form of biological reproduction different from any animal or plant known to science. Are we headed? We're tapping into outer space. We're going to, that I just saw in the news the other night that they found Earth-like planet bigger than the size of Earth, but has an atmosphere and they have water. Are we doing too much? Or is that what God gave us will to do? All I'm saying is that the more we discover, the more we destroy. And the more that we destroy this life on this planet, we look at climate change, we destroyed it through fossil fuel and other things that we've done. You look at all the building on the land, we're cutting down the trees. The animals don't have any place to go. We're cutting down on the oxygen on this planet. We're killing this planet. And if this planet was created and for us to be man, and if we're killing it, then God is not happy. And it talks about it in Revelations. And yes, there's good people here, but God said is a new Babylon in Revelations, and you must
Ooh,
come out of her. You come out of her, come out of her. Because if you don't come out of her, you're going to suffer the iniquities of those that did not live a righteous life.
wow. Wow. So, family, um, prepare yourself, prepare your family. For those of you who have been vaccinated, Fatim and myself are both vaccinated. I have caught the coronavirus after vaccination. I raised my hand for that. I am preparing to get a booster shot very soon within the next 14 days. That doesn't mean what I need to do, you need to do, but what you do need to do is prepare yourself, get information, and find out what is the best line of resistance for not only you but your family, because you can be asymptomatic and a carrier with absolutely no symptoms and affect someone, and then they wind up in dire straits because you carried the virus to them. So take the precautions not to get infected, not to be a carrier, and not to spread this horrible disease known as COVID-19, whatever mutation it is that they have out there.
That's right. I just want to give
Wow.
a shout out to Sister Alberta Patton, who's on watching us tonight. I just like to give a shout out to her for tuning in also.
Yeah, big ups, big ups. So
Hmm.
let's shift gears again.
Yes, sir. We
What
put it, keep moving forward. Just put it in second.
yeah, what have we learned from the Whittenhouse Aubrey trial decisions?
Mm.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword, because one side we will definitely, a lot of us feel like no, the system does not work. Um I have a different perspective, and some folks may agree or may not agree with me with this. I believe the system works when when first of all, you got to have a fair and impartial magistrate, the individual who is officiating the courtroom. He's got to be fair and impartial. I feel in the Whittenhouse case, that was not a fair and impartial judge. And I think that has a lot to do because we elect judges, and somehow elected folks administrating proper justice just doesn't come across right to me. But that's my opinion. Um, I think we also proved that right's right and wrong's wrong in the Arbery case, because that was a majority Caucasian jury that found all three of those men guilty on the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. I'm scared with the Whittenhouse situation. There will be uh, more rising of
The vigilantism.
yep, and more of what we saw on January the 6th, which we're getting ready to come up to the first anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. And let's just call it what it was. It was an insurrection. It was treacherous folks with treasonous motives trying to take over this country because they didn't get the outcome that they thought was right. Um, what did we learn, Brother Fatim? Talk to
Well,
me.
well, I think you hit it. You started right on the beginning when you talk about the judge. The only thing I would add is he or she that is running that magistrate that is running the courtroom. He or she can do that without prejudice,
Yeah,
and they have to realize that they are not the law. They are there to help operate and to make sure that the law is is fair and blind to color, creed, or whatever. Is to make sure that it's done in a proper manner. What was learned? I mean, on one hand, it proves that um, with the Kyle Rittenhouse, that judge name is Judge Schroeder. I think he ran a courtroom, a horrific courtroom, but he's an old school judge that got away with that kind of judging, as you would say. And look where he's at the end of the day. And he's probably been not reprimanded on anything. in the Ahmaud Arbery, I'm glad that you said 11 white jurors and one lone black juror on there. We thought the fix was in on there, but that judge ran a very good courtroom. And even when the defense attorney, after Reverend Sharpton showed up, he said he didn't want any more black pastors showing up. And that was the reason why 2 Thursdays ago, I was down there along with hundreds of black pastors, activists, and concerned citizens in support. It was a prayer and support rally for the Arbery family. But we were coming there. But the judge reprimanded that defense attorney for making that statement.
I mean,
there.
they were ugly for team in Ahmad's trial. Once again, some things that the defense said and presented played on the heartstrings of prejudice and bias in folks. That certain folks, because of the color of their skin or what is historically the way they've been treated, this is why we did what we did. We had certain laws. We were trying to make a citizen arrest. You know,
Citizen arrest on what?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They didn't do anything.
Right. Correct.
Look.
You know, the question is, had he have been a Caucasian young man who just walked through the house and went jogging, had they jumped in their vehicles with their guns and chased him down or chased her down? Had it
Or
been
if they would have chased him down, they'd have been like, "Hey, fella, wait a minute, come here. Who's your daddy? Who's your mama? Who are you? Where do you live on the?" There would have been a conversation. There wouldn't have been a gun pointed at him.
Right. So, and on the Whittenhouse situation, and it was funny because a good friend of mine, I'm not going to mention any names, had sent me a message and said, we need to stay out of the mother folks' business because none of us got shot in this situation.
That was our business.
And I feel like that was, I told my friend I didn't see it from the point of view that he saw it from. And I felt like that was very much so our business because, once again, had Whittenhouse been a young African-American man who showed up in that city armed in that manner, and the same situation would have happened, would we have had the same outcome at a trial had he felt threatened? See, always it ceases to amaze me. It's kind of like we the boogeyman. And that's sad that it comes across as if we're the boogeyman. And when folk feel threatened by our presence because, quote unquote, black men are the boogeyman, now we can go ahead and use lethal force to get the boogeyman off our back. It's like somebody said, Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. And we show up and all of a sudden we the boogeyman.
So I don't know who sent you that message, but if they're watching, or tell them I'm addressing them right now.
Give it to them, Fatim.
I'm addressing you right now. So the reason why Kyle Rittenhouse went to Acacia is because of the folks rallying, quote unquote, rebelling. We don't use riot, but rebelling against the system. Jacob Blake was shot in his back.
Come on.
He was shot in his back, and that's why people were in the streets in Waukesha. That's why they were in the streets. So it is our business. And the reason why it is our business, because 2 white men were shot and killed and another one wounded. The reason why it is our business, because at times we say as black folks, when we're out here fighting against injustice, what do we say? Good white folks need to stand with us. And if they're standing with us and they are shot and killed, then they are brothers.
Come on.
So don't say it's not our business because 2 white individuals were shot and killed and another one was wounded. Yes, damn it, that was our business.
That part. And Fatim, I totally agree with you. And I think that as that person watches this broadcast, or as that person reviews this broadcast, I hope they reconsider what they said. I get it. And I get why sometimes we feel the way we feel. But guess what, family? Right's right, and right don't wrong nobody. That's what my grandmother used to say. It's what my mama used to say. And we really need to get at a place where rightness doesn't have whiteness or any color connected to it. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you do something and you break the law, you should be held to the same level and letter of the law as an individual who breaks the law who don't look like you.
Mhm.
Period. You know, um, that's for another time,
Yeah.
another broadcast. I really don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole. Uh, I am grateful for what happened with Ahmaud Arbery. I believe he is now resting in peace. I believe that his family got the justice they deserved.
We got to
Uh,
wait for sentencing.
we will have to wait to sentencing, but still, we still got federal charges that are coming in that
That is
direction.
correct. That is
So
correct.
the party's not over.
Mhm.
As Guy would say, it ain't over. It ain't over.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, there's something circulating real quick. There's something circulating on social media. I've seen it before. I saw it again today. It's a white woman. I don't know her name. Lecturing a audience of white people, and her question to the audience, she said, "Is there anyone that's in here that would trade their place with a black person? If so, would you stand up?" I
mm,
paused because she paused. She looked around, no one stand up. She said, "Well, maybe you didn't understand the question. I'll repeat that question." She said, "Well, was there anyone in here that will trade a place with
mm,
a black person?" No one stood up.
mm,
She said, "That proves that there's something wrong that you look at black folks in a sense of how they may be living, how they're treated, or whatever, but your viewpoint is already tainted."
right.
And I thought that's why I said at the end of the day, sometimes white folks say, "Man, I got black friends and this, that, and other." But having black friends don't mean a damn thing.
Come on.
What means something is that you stand up for righteousness and justice, and you don't stand for any injustice, no matter what it is, anywhere, and you speak up about it and not scared to speak up. That's when you make a difference. That's when you make a difference out here. That's how you do it.
That's true. That's true. And that's the ultimate question. You know, since everybody always says how well we have it, the question is, would you switch places with us? Would you switch places with us? Would you let go of everything you have and switch places with somebody whose skin color was not the same as yours? And I'm glad that that conversation got brought up. I'm glad uh, that the lady made a clear point that if you even sit there and think for 1 second about that, then now you see the problem. There is a problem. The truth about it is that's why let's transition into the last part of the show. Right now we're still dealing, and I heard this on Reverend Al Sharpton, Keeping It Real, the show that you produce for Team
Mhm.
Voting Rights. Why? Last time I checked, I was born an American citizen. Last time I checked, I served in this country's military to protect the Constitution of this country and the freedoms that are enjoyed within its boundaries. However, if we don't get this voting rights thing right, they can maybe put a provision in there that I don't vote. I want y'all to think about that. Think about that. If we don't get this voting rights thing right, people that look like you and I may not have the right to vote. Or if they feel like your vote was not in the manner that they felt the vote should have went, our vote may be casted but not counted. Brother Fatim.
Um, So as you stated, you was born just like I was born a United States citizen. The difference in us being born as United States citizens, as black men, well, we were kids at the time, but as African American males and African American females, is this the difference is that because of the color of our skin, we have a bullseye on our back. And while we having a bullseye on our back, we are always subjugated to second class and second handed treatment at the end of the day, because some folks feel that they can do that and get away with it, that we deserve this treatment. And that's because of what this country and other countries has done dealing with slavery. They put us in a bad position. And at times I used to didn't fault a lot of things that black folks did, because it was post-traumatic slave syndrome. We were put in a position, you force a group of people into a corner, and you don't give them housing, you don't give them food, and then they come out and they seem like they're acting savagely, but they're not acting. They acting because of the environment that they are in. It's just that since things have changed and that a lot of us are doing better and have a little bit more money, we should be able to rise to the cause. But to get to the voting rights situation, folks need to understand this, that the Republicans, the conservatives understand the power of the vote. They realize that people of color are becoming the dominant number of people in this country. And that white folks and the conservatives and Republicans, the minority, they're becoming the minority, but they're ruling the majority. And that was the same thing in slavery. So they understand how to play the game and manipulate the game. We as black folk get frustrated at the end of the day because certain things don't go for us, or certain people we vote in office. And you got to realize that we voted Joe Biden and he promised so many different things, but you have to look at it. We had the Senate. If we had 3 more Democratic senators, then the 2 senators out there that is holding up voting rights and other things, then their voice would be nullified. It's just that where we at. So we have to understand the same way that they play the game, we have to play the game. And we have to put people in office. And remember, we said it on this show and the shows that I'm on. Politics are local. And when you go out there and understand politics are local, and you start on the ground from the grassroots level and you come up, we'll be in a better position to put certain people in office. You look at the House right now. The House is controlled by what? The Democrats. But you have a large progressive wing, and the progressive wing back those moderate Democrats up at the end of the day. And and the moderate Democrats are still fighting and struggling. But a lot of people are tired of the status quo with the moderate Democrats. They want a little bit more progressive behavior, because we continue to go through the same thing. It's like the violin playing. We vote them in office, and then the same okie doke happens.
Correct.
And that's what gets us frustrated. We can't get frustrated. We have to come up with a better strategy to get where we need to get and get what we deserve.
And something else I would like to bring up, and I think this kind of goes hand in hand with the conversation for those who are listening, those who share this, those who will go back and listen to it again. We got to start asking ourselves, where are the young folks at? Because let's just be real. How old is Reverend Al?
67.
Okay. I can give his name, Jesse Jackson. I can give names of folks that we consider our heroes and our heroines. Maxine Waters. I can name folks that are considered to be our heroes and heroines. Even when I name Madame Vice President Kamala Harris, where are the young folks? Where are the young men? Where are the young women? Where are the next set of leaders? Where are they at? And we need to start hearing from them.
And we do, and we got to lift those up that do.
Right, correct.
Tamika Mallory.
Come on.
And there was a young lady, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, I've had on my show.
Come on.
And Dr. Tiffany Crutcher is the twin sister of Terrence Crutcher, who was shot and killed by a white police officer. And she just fought to get this brother off of death row last week. And when she came on our program last week, Joe, she said that on their hands and on their armbands, they wrote their address, their life insurance policy number, because the next step, what they was getting ready to do, and I told her, do not broadcast what they were getting ready to do. Do not broadcast that. They knew what they was getting ready to do, that they could lose their life. Wow. But they were any means necessary. People are tired. Right. People are tired. And I just want to say one more thing real quick. I don't want to put you in a curveball, but I'll say it. I don't like the double standard here. We had brother Jay of the NAFAC group brought up on charges about pointing a weapon at law officials. Correct. And look at the double standard. I mean, he's got to go
with Wittenhouse, right? With Wittenhouse.
Yeah, Kyle Wittenhouse.
His situation was in complete total darkness. A flashlight gets shined down from a rooftop. Well, right. I don't know how many stories the rooftop is, and I don't want to get into particulars that I don't have privy to the information. But nevertheless, from, let's say, a pretty decent distance, there was a flashlight shined down on him, which he has a flashlight at the end of his weapon. So he shines his flashlight up. That flashlight is attached to a weapon because it's being pointed at an individual up. You're right. The double standard. I even go to the point, and I want y'all to think about this. I would like for y'all to go look at the record of Jimbo Fisher, and then go look at the record of the black coach that was coaching at A&M. Both of them at the same point, 48 games out. And you'll come to find out that the double standards are always in play with everything. Sadly, the double standards in everything, from our women to our children to us men to just us, period. Us as a culture, we deal with double standards all the time because we always hear that we got to be 5 times better. We got to do it 5 times better. Why? I look at black media, which is owned by sometimes non-black folks. Some of these non-black folks, they ain't even got, I'm about to curse, ain't even got degrees, ain't even barely made it out of high school. Multi-millionaires pimping the culture. And yet when we get ready to get into something, we got to go through hoops, and we got to go through red tape, and you need to get this, and you need to get that. And if you don't have this, that, these, and those, you won't be accepted by this, that, these, and those. And then not only talking about us having to fight the fight amongst those who don't look like us, but let's not talk about the envy, the hate, the jealousy amongst those who do. We got to wake up, family.
And I saw a piece on another piece on social media by a rapper from a group back in the 90s, the Poor Righteous Teachers, and the brother's name is Wise Intelligent. And he was talking about the atmosphere, what was being played on the radio during certain struggles that we were going through with the Kerner Commission that was done in New York, and talking about how black folks was treated. Rodney King, 92, when he was beaten, what was the #1 record? Fight the Power, Public Enemy. He said, you fast forward to George Floyd, and even though people stood up and rose up, you look at what is on the radio. Where's the consciousness at the end of the day? And I'm not just going to label or call out just radio or television. I call out all of that, because they help destroy those positive images, those record companies. They help destroy those positive images out there. When we had positivity, when rappers coming together, going to Chicago to meet with Minister Farrakhan, came out with a rap record, Self-Destruction, what we were doing to one another, rappers coming together, taking off their gold chains, putting on medallions that represent Africa, wearing shirts that had HBCUs, college names. I remember this television show, Rock, that was on television that had good ratings, and they pulled that off. He was wearing HBCU shirts at the end of the day. So we have to look at who controls the media, how they control this atmosphere. A lot of us black folks work there. That's why I'm glad I'm part of something that I don't have to water down.
Right. Come
And
on.
no one is calling me, telling me, well, you can't say this and you can't say that. I'm not saying it will not happen, but at the end of the day, that's what Reverend Sharpton doesn't deal with. And so far, I haven't had to deal with it. When I brought Minister Farrakhan on the radio in New York, when he walked in the studio in New York, and when certain people owned a radio station that didn't look like us, they never said a word. Never said a word. Why you had Minister Farrakhan on? We were able to bring the message to our people, and that's what we do. And I'm glad that I'm in a position, but I will not compromise. I will not water down my position. If I have to do that, it's time for me to move on.
Right.
And that's why I say that I commend you, Joe, because with 100 Black BLK, which you said that's launching tomorrow, again, and you can explain that at the end, that you've been in commercial radio, and look what you did, in a sense of you didn't bitch and moan.
Nope.
You took it to another level by creating your own. And by creating your own, you control your own. But we also not only controlling the own, you get out the truthful message, and no one tells you how to go about doing that.
Right. I don't have to worry about somebody running up here behind me saying, no, you can't say that. Our sponsors, oh, you can't say that, blah, blah, blah. Let's be truthful, and I really, and there's going to be some people highly upset with me right now. I see so many people jump on social media and they try to enlighten us as a people. Oh, they want, especially when they look like us, they all of a sudden want to enlighten us as a people. Well, if you're so enlightened about your people and you're so at a place with your people, then why have you joined with folks that don't look like your people and secretly made pacts and worked on things that your agenda wouldn't even go further if you hadn't connected the way you connected? It kills me. Why can't we just work together amongst ourselves? Why do we have to bring somebody into the equation that don't know our culture, don't know us? I tell you why. Because a lot of us don't have the economic power. So what we do is secretly we sell our soul for economics that we some use, but still behind all that, there's somebody who don't look like us. Behind the curtain, there is the Wizard of Oz. And we got to wake up and get to the point where we can self-sustain what we have amongst ourselves without any outside help in any shape, form, or fashion, where it's by us, for us, and it enriches us and it builds us and it continues to lift us up. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against folk who don't look like us. But family, they sure have done it for many a years without us. And the only time they had us was when they had us for free labor. That's all I got to say about that.
I'm against any folk, Black or white, that is trying to bring us down, hold us down, and do anything that is destructive to us and hold us back. I don't give a damn who you are. We need to eradicate you. I hate to say that, and that's it. It was something else I had on my head, but it skipped my mind. Just to say that point,
we'll hold tight. We'll hold tight for a minute because we're coming toward the end. I know you got another show, and I don't want to, because of my tardiness, hold you back from other things that you have to do, Brother Fatim. But man, I love you, man. You mean the world to me. I really appreciate everything that you do for me, with me, and even the folks we connect each other with as we continue. Like I said, we're not here to tell you how to think. We're not telling you what to think. We're just bringing up the conversation so you can begin to think. Because at the end of the day, you need to get the information from the sources you feel are the sources you need to get, that you have deemed your credible sources. I'm not even here to tell you what source is credible and not credible. You need to figure that one out yourself too. But you need to think. Begin to think. Begin to use the knowledge that you have, not only for the betterment of yourself, your home, your street, your community, your city, your state, your nation, your world, this universe, but begin to know that you are powerful when you begin to use that space between those ears and you begin to think and process and pass on knowledge. Family, we got to do better. Brother Fatim, give us some closing words, bro.
All right, so I remember what I was going to say.
Let's go.
And if you haven't learned anything from COVID, take this. When we shut down, we were very limited into what we can control. And since COVID, and we're still battling this, and we don't know where this Omicron virus is going to take us, but we have to become a little bit more self-sufficient. And, a lot of people talked about, you know, we can't get produce because of this, that, and the other. Well, you need to be able to grow your own produce. It's hard to grow your produce if you live in the city. So when Rhonda asked me, Fatim, will you move into South Carolina? I'm putting myself in a better position that I don't have to be so dependent. You just don't just wean off of something if you don't have a plan, but you have to plan. And I've talked about chemical and biological warfare, about preparedness back in the 80s. We talked about the world trade happening before it did happen. And when are we going to wake up and prepare and put ourselves in a better position to be able to live and survive and live? So that's why we have to put in a place and a plan. And you can't wait for anyone to do that. It starts with you.
All right, family. Listen, we really appreciate y'all logging in, being a part of this. Every Tuesday, it is Community Conversation. Joe and Fatim, we're both in two different cities. He's representing the NYC. I'm representing down south in the NO, but we deal with the same issues and the same problems. So that means we have to start coming up together collectively and begin to produce solutions to these problems that we all grow and become better. Um, Coming up tomorrow, go to www.the100blk.com. New website. We got everything from inspirational music to some of the greatest music from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Um, Great music, great content, and we're going to try to give you information where you can begin to do research and you can begin to have the knowledge you need to know what is best for you and yours. I got nothing but love for you. I know this brother's getting ready for the open lines tomorrow. I'll let him go through what he has. I know he's got the what is it, the tea,
Tangy tea, tangy
tang,
tea,
tangy
tangy
tea
tea of
tonight.
life. I got to go jump on that right
Right.
now.
So brother Fatim, man, I really appreciate you being on as always, man. Nothing but love for you. Look, we got big shows coming up. It's the holiday season. Remember that the holidays are not happy for everyone. Tomorrow night, I'll be back with Wellness Wednesday with Positive Choices, where we talk about your mental health because your mental health matters. We really appreciate y'all. I know I've been holding this brother 4 minutes, about 5 minutes too long. So with that being said, peace, love. Uh, each one teach one, each one have each other's back. Let us all be at a place where we love one another and begin to uplift one another that we can all be the best that we can be. We up out of here. Peace.
Peace.